god, this is the most exciting thing we've ever done!
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're going through every year from the 21st century thus far, singling out the best animated show that premiered in each.
Whoa! This is worthless.
2000, As Told by Ginger. Despite being nominated for 3 Primetime Emmys, As Told by Ginger was somewhat underappreciated upon release.
Okay, I've compiled a list of potential party guests and put their names and vital information on flashcards. Who is this, and what's her nickname?
Melissa Mipson. Her friends call her Mipsy.
Correct!
Whereas most Nicktoons were 11-minute comedies, creator Emily Kapnick delivered a surprisingly sophisticated teen dramedy that didn't shy away from serious issues such as peer pressure, abandonment, and depression. Adding another level of realism, the characters weren't restricted to repeating the same grade every season.
Can we just try it, Orion?
Sure, yeah. Absolutely.
Not only do we see Ginger and her friends move up through junior high, but they all own more than one set of clothes. We can only wonder if such a continuity-heavy show would have performed better in a streaming age. But that's all the more reason to catch up with it now. Between Rugrats and Ginger, Klasky Csupo truly matured along with their audience.
Man, it's nice to be missed, but this is getting a little embarrassing. Sit down, Ginger.
2001, Samurai Jack. The new century ushered in a more experimental era for several animation brands. The Proud family diversified the Disney Channel's library, while Samurai Jack took Cartoon Network in an action-oriented direction.
I am the lost son of the land that you have pillaged. I am here to reclaim it.
Created by Genndy Tartakovsky on the heels of Dexter's Laboratory, to simply call Samurai Jack an action series would do it a disservice. While action drove the plot with minimal dialogue, its unique world opened the door to endless genres.
Do not worry. I have only begun to fight.
One week, Jack could find himself in a Frank Miller graphic novel. The next, a brooding sci-fi film noir. Yet all of these styles blended perfectly, maintaining the same tone from story to story. Even when Season 5 leapt to straight-up adult territory, there was an elegant consistency to the characters, world-building, and action.
Look at you. You've survived worse.
2002, Kim Possible. Kim Possible might not have been the first animated action heroine, but she stood out for more than a few reasons.
Wait, can you hack into the system controlling the animals?
Kim, it's the most sophisticated computer system I've ever seen.
It's a banjo-playing bear.
They took his banjo!
While Kim embodied the term girl power, she was also a strong-willed character who just so happened to be female. It didn't aim to just be a girl show or a boy show, delivering a mix of comedy, action, and teen drama that entertained everyone.
Bonnie is your queen?
Thanks to you, Kim.
Me? How?
You identified Bonnie as the bossiest on the planet. Perfect for our queen.
Swell.
In addition to challenging gender norms, Kim Possible did away with a lot of the tired tropes at the time, such as giving the protagonist a secret identity. We like that the world just accepts that this high schooler is a crime fighter, yet Kim has an easier time defeating Dr. Draken than confronting a crush.
Hey.
2003, Teen Titans. Initially, there were plans to develop a Teen Titans show within the DC animated universe.
Then, the Teen Titans are finished?
Not yet. Not if I can help it.
Although Bruce Timm served as a producer for 2 seasons, DC ultimately decided to make a standalone Teen Titans series. Shared universes are fun and all, but this proved to be a wise move. It allowed Teen Titans to mold a wholly original identity, tonally, thematically, and aesthetically.
Please continue.
The creators went all in on an anime style at a time when most superhero shows were starting to look the same. The writing wasn't afraid to be goofy, but the show also treated its characters with gravitas, whether exploring typical teenage growing pains or a supernatural threat. At the center were 5 heroes relatable enough to be in the Breakfast Club.
Next time a creature goes down the sewer, I say we just let it go.
2004, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Our imagination has no limits, but live action does. That is precisely why Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends was born for the animation medium.
I'm Blue, and this is my boy Mac.
Hey, Blue. Hey, Mac.
Hi. Craig McCracken's sophomore outing following the Powerpuff Girls, Foster's took a seemingly ordinary orphanage and invented a world of its own. While the titular home could feel like a living, breathing character, it was the occupants who breathed life into the walls. Whether a character was a simple blue cylinder or a chicken/palm tree hybrid, every imaginary friend beamed with personality. The premise allowed the animators to literally let their imaginations run wild, winning 7 Primetime Emmys and 5 Annies in the process. It's a show that inspires viewers to keep imagining and creating, no matter how old you are.
I haven't seen an imagination as pure as that since, well, me!
2005, Avatar: The Last Airbender. The 90s were game-changing for TV animation, but the 21st century has taken everything to the next level.
You just sneezed and flew 10 feet in the air.
Really? It fell higher than that.
It's debatable when this golden age commenced, but we can safely say that the industry was never the same after Avatar. Drawing inspiration from classic stories and philosophies, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko created a lore so rich that the 4 nations feel real.
The Fire Nation will for generations tell stories about the great Zhao who darkened the moon.
Almost as real as the characters, who unearth more layers as we dive deeper into the mythology. In a show about bringing harmony back to a divided world, Avatar achieved an unprecedented balance with its character development, fusion of genres, and pacing, delivering 3 immensely satisfying seasons. Along with Ben 10, the influence of Avatar is still felt almost 20 years later.
You can't always see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you just keep moving, you will come to a better place.
2006, Metalocalypse. If we had to describe Adult Swim in one word, it would have to be rebellion.
We're here to make coffee metal. We will make everything metal. Blacker than the blackest black times infinity.
Since launching at the dawn of the century, this brand has constantly rebelled against conventional storytelling and good taste, resonating with an edgier generation. It's only natural that the most rebellious name in late-night animation would go hand in hand with death metal.
Friends, we can't afford to have friends these days.
The price for fame.
Bunch of caged rats. That's what we are, a bunch of caged rats that are also death metal musicians.
Yeah, we're the rat, and look what's on the other side of the cage.
Teaming with Tommy Blacha, Brendan Small injected Metalocalypse with an irreverent humor that he brought to home movies. Although the series satirizes heavy metal along with the hardcore fandom, it's just as much a love letter with music that captures the essence of the genre. The series was also a breakthrough for animation studio Titmouse, which draped every frame in apocalyptic glory on a limited budget.
Metal.
2007, Phineas and Ferb. Dan Povenmire and Jeff Swampy Marsh spent so many years pitching Phineas and Ferb that its genesis can be traced to their work on Rocko's Modern Life.
I asked my imaginary friend Ferb to do it!
You lie!
The general concern seemed to be that the premise was too complex. On paper, the show is a hodgepodge of ideas that shouldn't go together. 2 stepbrothers making the most of their summer, a sister trying to expose their exploits, a secret-age platypus battling a mad pharmacist, bird scientist.
Hey, I must apologize. All of my traps are platypus-sized.
Yet these offbeat ingredients resulted in a brilliant formula that somehow never gets old. That's largely because the characters are so likable and the comedy is so clever without over-relying on cynicism. At its core is a meaningful message about embracing creativity, no matter how complex your idea sounds.
The day may come when we'll give up on fruitless searches after a mere 11 minutes, but that day is not today.
2008, The Spectacular Spiderman. Like Gargoyles, The Spectacular Spiderman is a Greg Weisman show that ended well before its time.
Oh, Peter. You lead such a sheltered life.
For a series that only lasted 26 episodes, Weisman and company managed to cover numerous origin stories and classic comic book arcs without ever feeling overstuffed. Unlike some of the live-action movies, this show knew how to juggle multiple villains while still having Peter Parker's struggles at the heart.
I thought we could head over together.
And maybe score a little crosstown bus privacy for a real talk.
It demonstrated a clear understanding of the titular character with a few inspired twists. Speaking of which, the show knew how to keep us on our toes with surprises that subverted even the sharpest of spider senses. Although short-lived, the show has maintained such a devoted following that the Spectacular Spiderman made a prominent cameo in Across the Spider-Verse.
We know it's hard, but it's the truth, Miles.
2009. Wolverine and the X-Men. Here's another Marvel show that was cut short after just 26 episodes.
Who wants some?
Like Spectacular Spiderman, Wolverine and the X-Men made the most of its limited run, etching out a respectable following in the years since its cancellation.
Who are you?
We're the X-Men.
The series balanced elements of the early 2000s cartoon X-Men Evolution, and even the live-action movies. Thankfully, it was infinitely better than the Wolverine movie that came out the same year. Steve Blum is a natural choice to voice Wolverine, but he's far from the show's only bright spot. In true X-Men fashion, this is an ensemble piece with standout incarnations of Emma Frost and Rogue. Touching upon the Dark Phoenix saga and Age of Apocalypse, the show did justice to classic X-Men story arcs with a few twists.
So that was her, huh?
What? You were listening in?
Yeah. Who wouldn't?
2010. Adventure Time. Cartoon Network entered a new decade with two of its acclaimed franchises, Regular Show and Adventure Time.
Finn, truth or dare?
Dare! Haha!
I dare you to tell me the truth about what's going on in your mind. What were you and Bubblegum talking about when you were alone together?
Pendleton Ward's creation in particular would set a tone for a lot of the animated shows that followed. Before Adventure Time, cartoons could generally be divided into two groups, silly and episodic or serious and serialized. Adventure Time starts as the former, but slowly evolves into the latter while remaining faithful to its roots.
Then, sometimes you want someone and you want to kiss them and be with them. But you can't, because responsibility demands sacrifice.
Although the Land of Ooh is populated with colorful characters, a dark backstory lurks beneath, with protagonist Finn learning some difficult life lessons along the way. For all of the heavy-handed turns, Adventure Time never loses its eccentric humor or optimism. The outcome is childish and adult, having its fries and eating them too.
Daddy, why did you eat my fries? I bought them and they were mine.
2011. Bob's Burgers. By 2011, Family Guy was becoming more reliant on shock humor while The Simpsons leaned more into random pop culture gags. Bob's Burgers would liven up the animation domination menu with its character-driven comedy.
All right, listen. You're my children, and I love you. But you're all terrible at what you do here. And I feel like I should tell you, I'd fire all of you if I could.
Bob.
At first, the Belchers might seem like archetypes that we've seen in other animated sitcoms. However, there's only one Tina, one Jean, and one Louise.
What is this feeling I'm feeling right now? It's like I'm sad for another person? Is that a thing? Am I going crazy?
As one-of-a-kind as the characters are, they all come across as identifiable. Part of that's because the Belchers remind us that no family is normal. The same can be said about the Wattersons, who we also met this year. It's the Belchers who keep us coming back the most, though, making Bob's Burgers one of the most enduring comedies currently airing.
Lynn, this isn't a crazy day. This is a perfectly average day at Bob's Burgers. This kind of stuff happens all the time, and I'm so glad you came by to take it in.
2012, Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls wasn't just the best animated show to debut this year. It was arguably the most absorbing supernatural mystery to unfold this century.
Hi, Mabel here. Quick question. What the heck is going on here?
You could attribute this to the clues hidden throughout the series and cliffhangers that left us eagerly awaiting each new episode. Our investment in the overarching mystery truly resides within the characters. Whether or not the mystery of Gravity Falls had a satisfying outcome, we still would have felt rewarded, having solved it alongside such charming, quotable characters.
Can I have my hands back? I have a certain gesture I'd like to share with you.
That said, creator Alex Hirsch knew how to stick the landing, building to a finale that delivered answers, but more importantly, delivered emotional payoffs as well as comedic payoffs. Like Summer Vacation, it flew by quickly, but the memories will last a lifetime.
Ready to head into the unknown?
Nope. Let's do it.
2013, Rick and Morty. By the end of its first season, Rick and Morty had amassed a following so passionate that you'd swear the show had been on longer than Doctor Who.
Jesus, Morty, you're bumming me out. Can't we just pretend like everything's fine for a few hours, enjoy ourselves, and then worry about all this later?
Yeah, that's easy for you to say, Rick. You know, you like not caring about stuff. You know, what's in this for me?
Then again, Rick and Morty experimented with more ideas in those first 11 episodes than most shows do in their entire run. So it's no wonder why people immediately connected with its infinite universes, inventive concepts, and humor so meta that it didn't just break the fourth wall. It broke a fifth wall that only Rick knew existed.
I mean, it's funny when I do a little nod to the viewers, but...
What viewers?
That's the right attitude, Morty.
2013 would deliver 2 shows about young men who are regularly roped into earth-shattering adventures. We're sure Morty would like to trade places with Steven Universe, but you can't have Rick without Morty. Or at least a Morty.
What we can do is break his age in 2 places, remove the middle, and graft its ends back together. That sounds really violent.
It's not a literal bone, Morty.
Oh, okay. Brace yourself. The process does also break every bone in your body.
2014, BoJack Horseman. With BoJack Horseman, Raphael Bob Waxberg created a show that won't just have you looking at animation in a different light.
Mr. Peanut Butter and BoJack Horseman in the same room. What is this, a crossover episode?
You know, that gets funnier every time.
This series prompts a rethinking of comedy, drama, and where the two intersect. The first episode opens on the most absurd note possible, following a washed-up actor who starred in a TGIF-esque sitcom during the 90s. Oh, and he's a horse. If we told you that this evolved into a character study that takes several tragic turns, you'd call us crazy.
I can't keep lying to myself, saying I'm gonna change. I'm poison.
BoJack.
I come from poison. I have poison inside me, and I destroy everything I touch. That's my legacy.
If we told you that Will Arnett's performance as the titular antihero displayed the raw humanity one might find at the actor's studio, you'd swear that we were horsing around. Just as the series transforms, though, so does the viewer's perception of art itself.
She was really good at dispensing life lessons that always seemed to circle back to everything being my fault.
2015, F is for Family. 1972 saw the premiere of Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, which some consider the first animated sitcom primarily for adults. F is for Family exemplifies how the definition of an adult animated sitcom has evolved in the past 40 years, but it keeps the 70s setting.
That's real funny, Dad. You know what else is funny?
Aside from your haircut, what?
Although this series from Bill Burr and Michael Price is draped in a 70s aesthetic, it doesn't approach the decade in a way that comes off cliché or even fondly nostalgic.
I'm going to bed.
It's only 7:30.
It's midnight in my mind.
It may be animated, but there's a blunt reality to F is for Family, both in its portrayal of the 70s and its characters, who are believable enough to be from any decade. It goes to show that while the times change, family dynamics don't.
We're Murphy men. What do?
We shove it down.
That's right. And later in life, we take it out on someone else.
2016, The Loud House. In recent years, Nickelodeon has become increasingly dependent on SpongeBob reruns, SpongeBob spin-offs, SpongeBob specials. Basically, it's the SpongeBob network. After only a month on the air, The Loud House managed to overtake The Impregnable Sponge in the ratings, becoming Nick's biggest original hit in years.
You can yell all you want, but I'm already in the seat, and possession is 9/10 of the law.
You're gonna possess a bruise in a minute. Get him!
You're bound to find at least one character to identify with in the Loud family, which is comprised of 10 distinct sisters and a brother caught in the middle. An ensemble piece through and through, The Loud House will leave only children envious that they don't have a sibling.
Okay, Lucy, I'm gonna need you to smile.
I can't see that happening.
I can't see anything happening.
For those who do come from a big family, you'll connect with the frustrations, but you'll also be grateful for the dysfunction that comes with the territory.
Ronnie Ann has a brother? I thought she was raised by trolls.
That is exactly what Bobby was talking about.
2017, Big Mouth. Life is like a hurricane in Duckburg, as the 2017 DuckTales reboot reminded us. You know what else is like a hurricane? Puberty.
What the hell is wrong with me?
Nothing. You're a perfectly normal, gross little dirtbag.
If that metaphor had you laughing and nodding, Big Mouth is loaded with clever allegories to that not-so-pleasant time when childhood slowly dies and you realize that life will never be as rosy, other than your acne.
Me and my big mouth.
Big Mouth.
That's the show.
Growing up is messy in more ways than one, but you also get to discover exciting new parts of yourself. If you're wondering if Big Mouth is full of cheeky innuendos like that, the answer is no. The characters are far more direct about the subject matter. When the hormone monster comes knocking, though, sometimes it's better to let it all out. Okay, we'll stop.
If you need me, I'll be in the bubble bath watching Dr. Drew Pinsky. He looks like a sexy turtle.
2018, Hilda. 2018 gave us 2 shows about lovable young girls known for their blue hair, or blue fur in Bluey's case. While both shows have an ageless appeal, Hilda feels as if it could have been made in any decade.
Hold on, Mr. Troll. It's okay.
Every element, from the artistry inspired by Luke Pearson's graphic novels to the way the characters talk, carries a sentiment that transcends time. What sets the show apart above all else is its quiet, atmospheric moments. For all of the thrilling adventures that Hilda embarks on, it's the little things that immerse us in this cozy world.
Are you trying new things because your life's in a rut? Eating people won't fill that void.
Hilda warrants comparison to the works of Hayao Miyazaki with its seamless blending of nature and domestic life, as well as fantasy and reality, making the two seem interchangeable.
This is the coolest thing ever!
2019, Harley Quinn. On the 2005 commentary track for the Batman the Animated Series episode Harlequinade, the creators briefly discussed the challenges that might go into making a Harley Quinn show. Harley has proven more popular than even Paul Dini and Bruce Timm likely imagined, taking center stage almost a decade later.
You look fantastic. Is that new lipstick?
You treated me bad.
What?
You lied to me. You never loved me. I know that now.
Inheriting the role from the late Arlene Sorkin, Haley Cuoco is an inspired choice for the Joker's ex-henchwoman looking to make it on her own, with some backup from Poison Ivy.
Ive, you came to save me.
Look, I always do. My entire existence seems to be spent cleaning up your f***ing messes.
Although Harley Quinn isn't afraid to be a flat-out satire of Batman, the writers have a firm grasp on what makes these characters tick. The show is pure anarchy, but it's also thoughtful with more heart than expected, which sums up Harley in a nutshell.
I'll be seeing you soon, Mr. J.
2020, The Owl House. The Owl House is another series that deserved more episodes than it ultimately got.
Flying staffs, crazy monsters, you're a witch! What is this place?
This is the Boiling Isles. Every myth you humans have is caused by a little of our world leaking into yours.
This Peabody Award-winning fantasy show nonetheless managed to cover a ton of ground during its relatively brisk run. We're not just talking about fleshing out its mythology, although Dana Terrace did create an intricate fantasy world that we desperately want to explore. Its portrayal of LGBTQIA+ characters is where the show made the most progress, however.
Amity, it's okay. What if I went to Grom with you instead? Really?
The Owl House is about normalizing concepts that might seem strange to others, be it a human girl in a mystical realm or fantastical creatures coming to our world. For the generation lucky enough to grow up with Luz and Amity, they can see that love comes in many forms and they're all magical.
Do you want to go out with me? No, I was so ready.
2021, Arcane. Arcane and Invincible are among the most well-written animated shows that we've ever seen.
Vander learns none of this.
No worries there. Powder took care of the evidence.
I tried, okay? You don't get it. You're older, you're bigger. It isn't fair.
So stick with us. Take a punch or two.
If we had to single out one of them, Arcane takes precedence for its enormous leaps forward in the animation department. Between the League of Legends source material and other animation game changers like Into the Spider-Verse, one can definitely see where the inspiration for Arcane came from.
Betrayal. That pain that feels like it'll eat you from the inside out can either break you or forge you into something greater.
At the same time, there's a visual language to Arcane that simultaneously feels cutting edge and timeless enough to sit alongside a classic work of art. While every frame is sensory overload, it's all rooted in a rousing, often tragic story with characters we care about. Arcane may punish us for caring about these characters, but that won't stop us from becoming invested.
We lost ourselves, lost our dream. In the pursuit of great, we failed to do good.
2022, The Legend of Vox Maka. Dungeons & Dragons is a common source of inspiration, Critical Role being one of the most beloved titles to derive from the tabletop RPG.
Oi, Tavern Keep!
Another round for Vox Maka, the greatest band of mercenaries in all the realm.
Considering that a group of voice actors devised that property, an animated adaptation seemed inevitable. Even if you weren't familiar with Critical Role beforehand, Vox Machina's members are so well defined that you instantly gravitate towards all of them.
I'm sorry, who the hell are you?
Vox Machina. You see, it's actually a somewhat clever play on words.
Honestly, we don't care.
Although you quickly get a sense of what each character is about, everyone has layers waiting to be peeled back between epic battles and over-the-top comedy.
It's not a door, it's a thing of evil.
While Vox Machina captures the fun of playing D&D with friends, it also understands that this is more than the game. It isn't until you become attached to a character that you comprehend how real the stakes are.
Cass, I'm so sorry. I wish I could go back and do things differently.
I know.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
2023, Scott Pilgrim takes off. With an art style faithful to Brian Lee O'Malley's graphic novels, and the cast from the 2010 live-action film lending their voices, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off seemed like it would be a straightforward retelling of the story we know.
Hey. Hi.
The series takes a drastic turn in its first episode, however. This easily could have provided loyalists with grounds to rage quit, but O'Malley and company conceived an engaging alternate story while staying true to the source material's spirit.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out to see me.
The series provides more development for Ramona, her evil exes, and the other supporting players. Yet the plot still revolves around Scott. Whereas most beloved properties just copy and paste the same formula, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off goes in a new direction and levels up because of this.
Wait! Hold on! Who are you exactly and why are we fighting?
What's your favorite animated show of the 21st century? Let us know in the comments.
You probably know this, but in the early 90s, there were 2 different Sonic cartoons airing at the same time. One was dark and dramatic, the other was a hilarious comedy about chili dogs. And the same guy played Sonic in both shows. Isn't that wild?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.